In my last video, I talked about how for my junior higher next year, I am tailoring the Good and the Beautiful language arts with Brave Writer writing curriculum. And so I wanted to give you a peek at the Faltering Ownership Brave Writer curriculum. My name is Rachel. Upcoming will be my 8th year homeschooling. I am still learning though. It is amazing how my journey as a homeschool mom has evolved, and I'm sure you feel that also. So even after I decided we were going to do the Brave Writer curriculum, I ordered this book, Brave Writer by Julie Bogart. And I started, it just came in the mail like yesterday. So I started reading it today, and I was reading the introduction, and she hit the nail on the head for exactly what I have been feeling the last couple years. So let me read this to you. It says, to maximize the value of the practices and attitudes I share, I invite you to be a brave learner yourself. You guys, did I not just say in my last video that I'm scared and excited? I've got to be brave to try this. She concedes that you have to be brave. Pay attention to your journey, to what incites your enthusiasm and provokes your skepticism. I literally just said that too. That when I was researching, I was thinking, what excited me as a child? What would excite me now to learn about? And what kinds of things do I hate? I hate textbooks, you guys. I hate boring textbook reading. I also don't like being told what I have to study. So I guess I am a little bit of an interest-led learner. And if we're going to be honest with ourselves, aren't we all interest-based? Like we're going to more enthusiastically jump into learning something we're interested in rather than being told, you have to learn about this, and here is the learning material that you have to learn from.
Boring.
Not to say that there is not going to be some times where you have to learn, but I don't have to force my elementary age daughters to learn. They can be interest-based. They don't have to do it the way the modern school system teaches now. Be interested in your reactions, journal, jot questions in the margins, recognize the child in you, longing for both freedom and support, and translate those experiences into empathy for your child's learning adventure. And that is the goal of this upcoming year for my up-and-coming 7th grader, and honestly, I'm going to be pulling along my up-and-coming 3rd grader who does still have all of the imagination and curiosity and wonder. And I am going to try out, I'm saying this really cautiously, a brave learner lifestyle. I feel like I am an eclectic homeschooler. I believe in classical education, but I have a strong attraction to the Charlotte Mason lifestyle too. And that's what this Brave Writer is. So let me show it to you, because when I was doing my research, I have to say I could not find on YouTube, I couldn't find concisely things to answer my questions about this. Julie Bogart has a channel, and she has a lot on that channel, but a lot of her videos are like an hour long. I don't have time to sift through hour-long videos, and especially when there's like 50 of them. So all of this information is out there if you really want to learn about it. She has a podcast, and so if you have time, maybe that if you're interested in learning about this next year, and you can just kind of dig in a little bit each week, you know, go for it. You can do that. In the meanwhile, here is Faltering Ownership. Okay, Faltering Ownership. So first of all, Julie Bogart's, she has samples. Okay, so first of all, if you want to see some of her other programs for younger kids, she has literature guides. You can request samples, and she will send you a little snippet of almost everything that she has. So that's what I did first. So I requested, they sent this table of contents for things that you get when you order this. So this is the Brave Writer Lifestyle, Poetry Tea Times, Weekly Movies, Nature Study, Art Appreciation, Music Appreciation, Theater, Shakespeare, Visual Journals. Basically, this is kind of an overview of how to incorporate into this your homeschool. It's so ironic that I'm doing this, you guys, because I've said in other curriculum videos, I like open and go, and I like being told what to do, and I'm not sure this is going to tell me what to do. I'm such a conflicted person. Okay, so here are the writing projects. There are 10, and they have them scheduled generally one per month, but she will say, go as fast or as slow as you need to. There's no reason why you have to finish this in a year. And then there are some bonus projects down here. Okay, so then in the sampling, they will also send you ideas of what maybe one of the writing projects is, so you get an idea. And that's kind of where I started with my daughter. I said, here's one project. Does this sound interesting to you? I've already organized this with all of the things they sent me through the download. So they gave, I don't know if I will use this project planner. This is really more for my daughter, for her planning project 1, which is like for month 1. We're just going to see how this part goes. She does kind of give you sort of a schedule that you could go by. So for week 1 here, you can see on Monday, you can do the copy work. If you have their arrow is their literature guide. Oh, this is so much to explain. The Brave Writer stuff is a lot to explain. Oh, okay, so that's what this is. This is all her literature guide, so separate from what I'm going to show you here. But if you bought her arrow guides or her dart guides or boomerang, which is for the older kids, this is kind of how you could incorporate it in on these days. This is Brave Writer Lifestyle. So again, if you want to, because you can see she's got poetry tea time every single week. I'm not sure I could make that happen. Movie here. There's no right or wrong way. Here is the projects that I'm going to talk to you about. And here's what you could do each day. So she's got Monday through Friday. This day she's got nothing. So 5 days a week, we'll just see how it goes. Collect words, then create a word pool, then play with word tickets. We're going to look at that here in a second. The second week, create word tickets, add words, review at 3 p.m., gather objects for sculptures, tape tickets to household items, free write answers to questions. So let's just look at some of this. Again, she will tell you, you do not have to follow that schedule. That's just an idea. So this first project, Wild Words, this is one that they sent in the sample. It's literally collecting words. So collecting words from all these different resources, words that your child is interested in. So maybe you're reading a book and they run across this really fantastic word like fuchsia instead of pink, fuchsia, like brand words, like things around your house. You're just collecting words. Then what you're going to do is these sorts of tickets. I have a bunch of these raffle tickets. You're writing words on the back. Then you're creating this word pool, and I think next you are kind of categorizing your words by verbs and nouns and sounds. See, here is fizz, pop, fiddle, crunch, Constantinople, manipulate. Then you're taking your words and you are creating word sculptures. I feel like she's literally just kind of looking at this in very abstract ways. And the difference between Brave Writer and, say, an IEW, if you have a budding writer that's inside that's never been unlocked, this is going to help them think in ways that they've never thought before. Whereas IEW teaches definitely a process. That's not to say that IEW isn't also helping them to make the writing them their own, but this is taking words and assigning it to objects in your house. I mean, this purple flower is now a crunch. You know, this teapot is now named Pink Regrets. She's got different activities just to play around with words. You're learning to appreciate words. I mean, who doesn't appreciate a well-chosen vocabulary word? That's one thing that's almost always going to be a reason for hymns that I love are big vocabulary words. So you're going to gather a variety of objects here and you're going to assign them words and you're just playing around. Okay, so then she's talking about taking all these words and creating a poem with them, that you've collected all these fantastic words and now they're just waiting to be used. So there's your next project, and she explains how to do it, and this is just allowing your child to do whatever it is that they want to do with these ideas. Keep your poem fewer than 12 lines. Write your verses in pairs. Don't rhyme it. Don't use punctuation or capitals. Just stick to the words. Write a poem by moving words around on the floor of the table. So this is all really high level because I haven't read all of this in detail. So here's an example. A starry night, personality's dream. A hapless family of stars, a prayer. Defies nature, rings of yellow. Emits bright blue. So you're collecting all kinds of words, and then eventually you're going to do something with those words. Okay, project number 2, the first thing, it says dust jacket book review. You're creating your own dust jacket of any book, and you're probably, I'm guessing, going to write your own review for the backside of this book. 5 stars, what would you say about this book? So you're going to have to gather a book that your child's already read before. What do you put on the front cover, the inside flap? Here's how to write a synopsis. Identify key characters. What's a protagonist? How does the protagonist get what they want? What creates chaos or conflict? And then for the back side of the book cover. So that's a really creative writing project. Again, a book that your child's already read, and then it's going to walk you through how you're going to make this book review. Month number 3, big juicy conversations and mini report. So you can do a research about what project you want to do for this. Select your topic. It's important that your student is interested in it. Study images and videos. So you're studying a photo to figure out what this natural disaster is. Read some newspaper articles, and then put the event in historical context. And then you're going to create a mini report. Interview an eyewitness. So now you're like a news reporter. I mean, these are fun presentations. Free write is write for whatever from 5 to 7 minutes. Write the entire time using notes as prompts. This one is historical person. So this writing project is going to be writing from a first-person viewpoint. The student will become an actor embodying the historical figure. This kind of reminds me of Faces of History that Classical Conversations does, which is fun. So they'll pick a person and they're going to study all about that person, the research, and they're going to write. There's some ideas for the things that they could write about. They could talk about chores, friendships, any kind of disasters that happened, exciting holidays. So if the child wants to keep a diary as a prisoner in the Holocaust during World War II, the entries might span several months or weeks. So did I miss something that they're doing a diary? Yep. So the final result will be 2 to 3 weeks of diary entries. More than 1 entry in a day can be recorded. That's really cool. So as they're researching about this person, they're keeping a diary as if they are that person. So then the research project that they're doing isn't this overwhelming project, because that's what I definitely found when we did do the Faces of History through Classical Conversations. It became a little bit more daunting, and I had to help my kids a lot with that. This way, though, is like, you're just creating a diary entry for whatever you learned. And then by the end, you're going to have several diary entries. So here's how to write a diary entry. Date, start in the middle, details and feelings, the language, wish fulfillment. So what are they looking for? What's the conflict maybe that they're experiencing at that time that they want resolved? These are such creative ideas, you guys. I'm like starting to get excited now that I'm looking through this. Family, end of the year letter. I told her she's going to write a Christmas letter this year. So she's going to need digital recorder, notepad, butcher paper, for a mock layout. What types of things might you put in a year-end review for a family letter? So here's some ideas. Write how to write the incidents like a reporter again. Do you remember anything we said to each other at the time? So if she's writing about like something funny that happened, here's some things to think about. How to build a letter, expanding on a letter, opening and closing a letter. How to prepare a version to mail. So writing envelopes or a digital version here. All right, headlines, viewpoint, and language. So collect a bunch of newspapers. Then we have our party school reporting. But it says month 1, you're selecting your topic and immersing yourself in it. Month 2, researching the topic with an eye to possible party activities and foods. Plan the party, send out invitations, and have the party. So this is kind of part of the Brave Writer lifestyle, is making learning fun and celebrating what you're doing. And she's big into parties. I mean, she's the one who kind of coined the term poetry tea time, which is a party. So for month 1, here's an example what topic you could choose. Planets, states, countries, continents. So this is for an upcoming party, because I know this is a project that's coming up here. And this kind of party that they've planned is also part of the sample that they will send you. So you could get a little bit closer look at what they're talking about here. It looked like a really fun party idea, honestly. I'm not going to go over too much of this because, like I said, they will send this idea in the sampler and you'll have a better idea. Deep dive into literary elements. So alliteration, creating sentences with words, assembling a collage. So 2 mini turtles took to the trail to train for the test. All right, so we're going to learn about analogies here. We're going to hunt for examples of analogies. So an analogy would be using an unfamiliar and comparing it to a familiar. How to write analogies. What does it remind you of? What else behaves this way? Examples of perspective, first person, second, third person, omniscient person. And then we're ready for our school party here. So you're planning your party, you're hosting your party, and then after you host it, you're writing your report. And then they have bonus writing activities, observing faces, describing bodies, enhancing poetry play. So you're going to create a little poetry book, it looks like. Acoustic poems, concrete poems. Yep. You're going to create like this fun poetry book. Free verse. But faltering ownership is for the writer who kind of wants independence but still needs a little bit of help, and that's definitely my daughter. She doesn't like me giving her the ideas. She wants to come up with the ideas herself, but she definitely still needs help. So I will have to help her with the grammar and the punctuation and some of that. But this is one thing that I gathered from researching the Brave Writer is in a very well-written book. You might be brought to tears because this paragraph was just written so eloquently, and the imagery that was created just evoked such an emotional response on you. You aren't getting emotional because you're like, wow.
That use of commas was fantastic.
I mean, I'm a stickler for grammar because if you go in the business world someday, you don't want to look like a fool who doesn't know how to use commas. So there's definitely something to that. But the purpose of grammar is to help you communicate your ideas. And that's really what I want to help harness and foster in my daughter this year, is a love for this and some freedom for her to write about what she wants. As you could see, those writing projects were just really different and looked fun. So I'm excited to explore this year. I'm nervous, but I'm gonna be brave. If you missed my last video about why I decided to go with the Brave Writer versus sticking with the Good and the Beautiful, check that out here. More on curriculum coming up. Bye.